Assalamualaikum. Today we'll be presenting our textual analysis based on the novel The Fault in Our Stars. My name is Aqilah Azlan with matter number 046389, and I'll be presenting the introduction. According to Seyfried 2020, he noted that by reading books, readers are able to develop three things: empathy, a theory of mind, critical thinking. All these attributes are essential and should be developed at a very young age. Fortunately, there is an increasing number of readers in the young adult category lately. And because of that, this presentation wanted to highlight the international best-selling novel in the young adult category, written by John Green entitled The Fault in Our Stars, with its corresponding translated version in Malay, tertulis di bintang-bintang by Basila Bakar. So let's go on with the synopsis. So this story talks about Hazel Grace, a 70-year-old girl who was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. She later met a teen boy similar to her named Augustus Waters. They both met at their local cancer support group at church. They instantly clicked and connected through one another through books. Hazel, in particular, had a dream where she wanted to meet the author of her favorite book just to know the ending of it. And Augustus was 100% on board. Unfortunately, things got worse and Hazel had an attack and was taken to the ICU. But once she got better, they both flew to Amsterdam and tried to find the author. However, their trip didn't go well as Augustus finally revealed to Hazel that his cancer has returned and was worse than it was ever before. Not long after that, Augustus passed away, and Hazel received a surprise visit from the author of her favorite novel. She then received her closure both from the author as well as Augustus. So moving on to why is it translated. So there are three things. One is gap. Gap is where translation helps to shorten the gap between the book from the source language to the targeted language, which means readers, despite the differences in language, will be able to understand and enjoy the same storyline. And the next is opportunities. Translation helps to gain new potential readers as well as writers. This is because, for instance, The Fault in Our Stars is a big hit, and because of that, there is a high demand for readers. Unfortunately, they sometimes do not understand the source language, therefore creates an opportunity for potential writers to translate the book into the targeted language. And lastly, new discoveries. So with this, translation helps people to see the world and experience new things in the eyes of others. For instance, in the book The Fault in Our Stars, it talks about people who are suffering with an illness, and people who are reading the book will be able to empathize and as well as see the world in a different perspective. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Syafiqah, and today I'm gonna talk about The Fault in Our Stars, or Terukir di Bintang-Bintang in Malay, or Talmusun Uri Pioreso in Korean, or Ayna Yıldızın Altında in Turkish. And there are so much more translated version for this book. However, those titles are not exactly mean the same with one another. So, what about the content? For this book, we analyze two direct translation techniques, which are literal and also borrowing. Literal translation is a common process in translation where the word is translated word by word literally, or you can guess by its word literal. And I found evidences in this book where I can conclude that literal translation, first, it doesn't change the word structure. For example, the proper noun in the sentence of the source language is also translated into a kata nama khas in the sentence of the targeted language. Second, the word arrangement is parallel between the source language and also targeted language. For example, a cute chubby girl is translated into seorang budak perempuan comel dan tembam. Third, the meaning of the source language is the same when it is translated into a targeted language. Like the word armaic, it contains prefixes, but still it is translated as kosong semula, which means the same. Fourth, the translation would be equivalent if the word does not exist in the targeted language. For example, fat and ugly is associated with muka pecah rumah in Malay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Khaleeda binti Mohd Kharil with matrix number 046835. So, there is another translation technique in The Fault in Our Stars novel and also Tertulis di Bintang-Bintang novel. And one of the techniques used is borrowing techniques. So basically, borrowing technique in translation happens when the word or expression is taken straight from another language. And there is actually 3 types of borrowing techniques, which the first one is pure borrowing. Pure borrowing means the expression or word taken over purely from the source language into the target language without any adjustment. This means that we just adopt the exact same word from the standard language into the target language. And the second one is naturalized borrowing. It is made to fit the spelling rules in the target language. For example, the word January. So in English we use January, while in Malay also we use January, but the difference is the spelling. So in English we spell the word January with January, while in Malay we spell January with Januari. So that's the difference, and it falls under naturalized borrowing. And the third one is cultural borrowing. It is used when the source language is translated into the target language to indicate things or event, and it happens in the target language because of its lexical equivalent. So as you can see, the examples from the novel under cultural borrowing, we can see the word cookie, lemonade, and also tipi. Okay, it falls under cultural borrowing because the word cookie is originated from the Dutch word, while lemonade came from the French word, and tipi actually came from the North American Indians. And the example of pure borrowing in The Fault in Our Stars and Tertulis di Bintang-Bintang novels, there are 2 examples of it, which the first one is an imperial affliction. Okay, and in the Malay novel also, the translator used an imperial affliction as well. It is because it is a proper noun, so there is no other word that could actually describe the title of the book. Therefore, both novels use an imperial affliction. And for the second one, it is phalanxiphore. So actually phalanxiphore is a scientific term, and it is also a proper noun. I mean, the translator cannot translate the word phalanxiphore into Malay words, so the translator just borrowed the word because it is a scientific term, and both novels use the word phalanxiphore. That is all. Thank you.
Okay, so we move on to review the textual analysis, and my name is Nurkhufazilah binti Nordin from Band 6B. Okay, reading translated work from other country, it could open new windows to a new world, but there are lots of pros and cons in translating other work. So Tertulis di Bintang-Bintang by Priscilla Bakar is a Malay version of the Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and the book is not as good as the original novel. This is because, firstly, the translator or the co-author disregard to translate certain words, and mostly use borrowed and literal translation. For example, the word "the night of the broken trophies" was translated into "malam pemecahan trofi," and the word "boyfriend" could be translated to "teman lelaki," but instead the co-author borrowed the work from the original novel and keep it that way in the Malay versions of it. So the inconsistency appearance in the target language could disrupt the appearance of the contents as well, and will make readers feel awkward when reading the novel. Secondly, the author does not take creative decisions of particular interpretations of the text, especially when the translator use direct translations. The meaning could be lost between the original and the translated work. But the good thing about this book is it contains footnote at the end of the page to explain the scientific terms of in the books, so the readers could understand more clearly what the words are.
Hello, my name is Nur Syafiqah binti Mat Sidik with metric number 046680. And to conclude this whole research or our presentation, doing translation is not as easy as one might think, because there are a lot of factors that need to be considered, such as culture, background, and a lot more. For this research, there are two major translation techniques that are used, which are literal translation and also borrowing. Borrowing can be classified into two, which are pure borrowing and cultural borrowing. The translator did a very good job. However, we can find a few mistakes or a few things that the translator can improve on, which are unnecessary translation, leaving the necessary words to be translated behind, meaning that there are a few terms, a few words that should have been kept that way, and there are also a few terms, few words that should need to be translated. So I think there is something the translator can work on. The other one is the translator failed to creatively translate a few phrases, making it sounds very awkward. And this happens especially during literal translation, because when the words are translated literally per word, the translator could get lost in between creativity, and it might sound awkward and very straightforward for reader to read it. But overall, the translation was pretty good, and we think that the translator deserve recognition. And despite the cultural and language differences, people still receive the same message, the same information from the book, and it is all thanks to translation, because without it, it wouldn't be possible. And I guess that is all from us, and thank you.